Southwest champs, the 3 seed, the Cal Poly Mustangs, after both teams winning here last night. Speaking of wins, earlier today, the improbable comeback by the #1 national seed, UCLA, in the bottom of the 9th. Moulivai Lavu starts it with a homer, and that made it a 1-run ball game. It was 5-4 Virginia Tech. The next batter, Roman Martin, he ties it. They go back-to-back. In the bottom of the 9th, it was 5-5. Then with Will Gasparino at third and 1 out, Phoenix Cole, a single to win it. And the UCLA Bruins stun Virginia Tech. And the Bruins stick around, winning that elimination game earlier today. They will play the early game tomorrow against our loser from this winner's bracket game here tonight. Along with Wes Clemens and our ESPN crew, Roxy Bernstein with you. Wow. Wes, we have a tough act to follow here.
It's impossible to beat what we just saw a couple hours ago. One thing that's different about the game we just saw is that the loser of that game goes home. The loser of this game is still alive.
And St. Mary's sent UCLA to that loser's bracket with the win yesterday, as the Gales became the first team in the history of this tournament to beat the #1 overall national seed in their first game. And it was opposite field that helped St. Mary's get to the winner's bracket.
Well, Jack Meggs is the hitting coach for the Gales, and we talked to his hitters a couple days ago, and their focus was other way, backside. And the biggest hits for the Gales yesterday were 2 home runs by Jacob Johnson. The last home run from Jacob Johnson ended up being the game-winning home run. Mixed in between there was a big-time RBI double by Sniffen.
So a 3-2 win for the Gales yesterday. Cal Poly last night behind a loaded offensive attack. Casey Murray Jr. had a big game, 4 hits, helping the Mustangs defeat Virginia Tech to put them into this winner's bracket matchup tonight.
Well, Casey Murray, you mentioned he was in the 9-hole in the Mustangs lineup, but he was amazing yesterday. You see 4 for 5, an RBI, scored a run, but he ended up effectively being a second leadoff hitter yesterday, Roxy.
The starting pitchers tonight in this winner's bracket matchup between these 2 California schools. Lucas Sarantos, who was tremendous in a winner-take-all the WCC tournament. Carson Turnquist, the best pro prospect possibly for Cal Poly. Lineups and first pitch next. Saturday night baseball from the Los Angeles Regional at Jackie Robinson Stadium. The 4 seed, the St. Mary's Gales, the West Coast Conference Tournament champs. And St. Mary's, after beating UCLA yesterday, second straight year they've won the WCC tournament title. And last year they went to the Corvallis Regional, won their opener against Oregon State, and they're trying to get to their first regional final in program history. They have never started a regional 2-0. And a team that hits .330 as a club, 3rd in the country in batting average, and it's St. Mary's lineup that has some depth to it. And Jacob Johnson, the hero from yesterday with those 2 home runs to lead St. Mary's into this winner's bracket game.
Yeah, there's no question. What's interesting about Jacob and his hitting yesterday was how he was defended, Roxy, with 3 on the left side of the infield. Molovai Lavu was playing virtually inside a infield in second baseman, excuse me. And Johnson ends up leaving the yard twice and one for the game winner as we take a look at Carson Turnquist. Arguably the best pros prospect, Roxy, for the Mustangs.
8-2 and a 3.5 ERA for Turnquist. From Paso Robles, not too far from San Luis Obispo. The big righty gets the ball here after Griffin Ness was terrific last night for Cal Poly. And Turnquist, the 6'5 junior, a transfer from Oklahoma, on the mound here for Larry Lee and Cal Poly, 37-22. For the Mustangs, and the first pitch and a cold strike to Tanner Griffith. We are underway.
I talked to Larry Lee and asked him when Turnquist when it doesn't go right for him, what's the reason? And it's one word: command.
0-2 on Griffith, hitting .335 for St. Mary's. As Tanner Griffith, 5 homers, 41 batted in. And Griffith, the junior from Livermore, California. Same hometown as somebody he'll never be confused for. The big unit, Randy Johnson. Fouled away by Griffith.
The big unit, 6'9", is that right?
6'10".
Or 11.
But the same hometown. Griffith scored a run last night. 0 for 3, drew a walk against UCLA. And it's 1-2 on Tanner Griffith. Griffith, a modest 4-game hitting streak broken up last night. He had multi-hits in each of the previous 4 games. Strike 3 called, a delayed pull of the chain from Eric Gaucher. And Tanner Griffith has gone looking, and that's how our ball game begins.
It's a nice little slide piece on the outside corner that catches. Griffith just locked them up.
One out here is Diego Castellanos, St. Mary's right fielder. Leads the team hitting .382. And a conference record tying 36-game hitting streak for Castellanos. As he takes a strike 95 from Carson Turnquist, as Castellanos picked up a single in his first at bat yesterday against UCLA to extend the streak to 36 games. 0-2. And the record in the West Coast Conference is held by a former St. Mary's Gale. And that is who Diego Castellanos equaled the mark of. Back in 2014, Brendan Kalfas set the record. In the air to left, playable for Dante Vicchini. And he roams over toward the line, and there's 2 outs here in the St. Mary's first. Now it's Makoa Sniffen. An RBI double yesterday, leads the Gales with 62 batted in on the year. .356, 11 homers for Sniffen, who also has a St. Mary's single season record, 93 hits. 2 down in the Gales first. And it's Turnquist, and it's fouled off by Sniffen.
And of course that big RBI double yesterday that literally Rocks hit chalk, didn't it?
If it didn't, it was right inside the chalk. And maybe just grazed it. It was right down the line, that RBI double. And he and Castellanos go back and forth on the single season hits record, which was established last year. That magical record didn't last very long. The 1-1 to Sniffen. Grounded foul of the third base side. And Eddie Madrigal has since transferred to Auburn. After he put up huge numbers last year for Eric Valenzuela and St. Mary's. The Gales winning the WCC tournament last year. And then went to Corvallis, lost their opener, or won their opener, excuse me, against the #8 national seed Oregon State. Then lost to USC, and then lost to Oregon State, and were eliminated from the Corvallis Regional. And Sniffen takes just off the plate. Two balls, two strikes. Makoa Sniffen. Very pleasant, comfortable Saturday night at Jackie Robinson Stadium. The pitch. Line back through the middle, and Sniffen with a sharp single, a 2-down base runner for St. Mary's.
Well, you understand why Sniffen gets a lot of hits. This is a great job of two-strike hitting by Sniffen. It's a breaking pitch. It's middle. And that's exactly where Sniffen ends up hitting this ball.
Well, the other reason why he gets a lot of hits, he never walks. He goes up there with a plan. He is swinging.
Well, if you're swinging, pretty good chance you're going to get a lot of hits if you have good hand-eye coordination, and no question he does.
Catcher Ian Armstrong. That's fouled off. .352 hitter with 15 homers to lead St. Mary's. And he's driven in 49. He was the most outstanding player of the WCC tournament last weekend. He is from El Granada, which is out on the coast. If you're familiar with the Bay Area, out next to Half Moon Bay. Turnquist, the one-strike pitch. Sniffen running. It's a strike. Ryan Taman's throw to second base. Out. Covering. Jake Downing applies the tag. Sniffen is out. And the Gales are gone here in the first. Ryan Taman skips it, but a good tag by Jake Downing. No runs on a hit. Nobody left. St. Mary's nothing. Cal Poly coming to bat.
Little defense shown. Good throw from Taman. Good tag from Downing. We got the bottom half of the first coming up.
Here come the Mustangs after St. Mary's went quietly at the top of the first. Larry Lee in his 24th season as the head coach of the Cal Poly Mustangs, and trying to get Cal Poly to a regional final by starting 2-0 for the first time. Same for the St. Mary's Gales. They've never started a regional 2-0, but just the third tournament appearance for St. Mary's in their history. And Cal Poly with a win over Virginia Tech last night, and Larry Lee's lineup tonight. And a deep order with Casey Murray Jr., 4 hits out of the 7-hole last night. The cleanup batter Ryan Taman, the Big West Player of the Year.
Well, we talked about Casey Murray in the open, Casey Murray Jr., I should say, in the open, and he effectively has turned into a leadoff hitter approach, Roxy, and it paid off last night as we take a look at the big right-hander for the Gales.
Lucas Sarantos getting the start. 4-2 for Sarantos, making his 7th start. He is coming off a phenomenal outing at the West Coast Conference Tournament, the if necessary final game, where he handcuffed USF for 6 innings as the USF Dons Could not get anything going against Toronto. Struck out 6, gave up just 1 run over the 6 innings, and was the winning pitcher in that game for St. Mary's. And Sarantos delivers, and that is a called strike to Nate Castellón, leading it off for Cal Poly. 326, 5 homers for Castellón. Sarantos, the 1-strike pitch. That's chopped toward third. Ian Josephson near the bag. And he fires over to first to get the out, and there's one gone here in the Mustangs first.
I talked to Eric Valenzuela earlier today, and I asked him, when Lucas Sarantos is going well, what is he doing? And he said, that's an easy answer, Wes. He said he gets ahead of hitters. And his best pitch is a cutter that at times, because it's so hard, it works as a slider as well.
1 out, Alejandro Garza. 322 for the Cal Poly third baseman. And it's ball 1 from Sarantos as Garza drove in a run last night.
It's a Cal Poly team that Larry Lee, in his tenure as a head coach, he's stressed his hitters to put the ball in play, and boy did they last night, huh?
Fouled off 1-1. The only problem, I guess, last night for Cal Poly was all the runners they left aboard, because they had traffic going all night. Cal Poly in that game stranded 15 runners, yet won 6-2 over Virginia Tech last night. Sarantos, the 1-1. Line sharply on one hop to short. Jared Medem handles it, and he throws out Alejandro Garza. 2 quick outs for Lucas Sarantos.
Well, that's the first curveball that he has thrown in this game. It's a big 12-6. Hit on the button, but right at Medem.
Now it's Dylan Kordich, the right fielder for Cal Poly. 287, 9 homers for Kordich. Senior from San Pedro down here, a transfer from Golden West Community College. Strike 1 from Sarantos. Tough time of the day to pick up the baseball if you're a hitter, because the pitcher's in sunlight. Then it travels through a slab of shade before it gets to you in half shade at the plate.
You know, I've always, I've heard this, and of course, I've been in situations like this, but this wouldn't shock you, Rock. I couldn't tell the difference one way or another.
You were see ball, hit ball?
I was, pretty much. Throw it in the zone, and it might get hurt. You throw it in 99% of the other zones, and you got me.
2-1 the count on Dylan Kordich with 2 outs. Sarantos, the pitch. High chopper. Sarantos waiting for it to come down, and gets the out at first, and a quick 1-2-3 first for Lucas Sarantos. We are through 1 scoreless St. Mary's Cal Poly winners bracket game in the Los Angeles Regional. Well, the importance of winning tonight's game, as 82% of regional winners started their regional 2-0, which Larry Lee and the Mustangs, Eric Valenzuela, and the Gales are trying to do, and neither program has done that in their NCAA tournament trips. The 5th appearance in the postseason for Cal Poly, the 3rd for St. Mary's. Ian Armstrong was at the plate when Makoa Sniffen was caught stealing to end the 1st. And he fouls the first pitch off from Carson Turnquist. (0-1) on Ian Armstrong. The sophomore catcher, phenomenal season for St. Mary's. First team all West Coast Conference, and it's 0-2. Most outstanding player at that tournament last week when he went 11 for 23 with 2 homers and drove in 7. And he caught every inning for St. Mary's. And in that heat at Scottsdale Stadium where they had the tournament last week, and he had to catch both ends of that Saturday tournament final round after they lost the opening game and had to play the if necessary game that day, with USF beating St. Mary's to force that extra game. Double elimination format in the West Coast Conference tournament. As the 1-2 to Armstrong. And it just missed, 2-2.
You remember their ages, Roxy. I mean, they can do this. This is what they live for. They love doing this stuff. He did tell us a little bit of cramps at times. A lot of fluids.
He had to stay hydrated. 2-2 on the way. And fought off, and we'll do it again. Two and 2 on Ian Armstrong, leading off the 2nd for St. Mary's. Pitch. And now it's full on Armstrong. Three and 2, leading off the 2nd. Carson Turnquist. The pitch. Another foul spoiled by Ian Armstrong.
Well, I tell you what, that's a sidearm slinging 96-mile-an-hour fastball running in to Taman right there, and he doesn't. You see the smile on his face. He's like, I got a piece of that ball.
Line the other way. Fair ball down the right field line by Ian Armstrong. Pinball's in the corner. Dylan Cordish digs it out. And cruising into second base, a leadoff double by Ian Armstrong, going the other way, which has been the theme for St. Mary's.
Well, this is their motto, their mantra, their mentality is backside, and this is some good heat on the outside part. And Ryan Taman literally just throws the bat at the ball, and he ends up on second base, and he's like, hey, come on, let's go. Forgive me, Ian Armstrong.
3rd in the country in hitting. The St. Mary's Gales, they have 2 hits already against Turnquist, and now it's Jacob Johnson, the 2-homer game last night. Fouled away. Johnson now with 14 homers, hitting .342. And speaking of those home runs, here was the pair against UCLA.
Well, prior to this pitch, Roxy had asked why the Bruins are shifting. Wouldn't you try to hit the ball the other way? I guess he was listening to Rox, because he did. This one surprised everybody. Looked like a fly ball initially, ends up going out of the yard, ends up being the game-winning home run and run for St. Mary's. Perfect situation right now for the Gales. Runner at second and no outs, and thinking backside, move the runner at 3rd with less than 2 outs.
And you're seeing more straight up alignment from Cal Poly as opposed to what we saw UCLA defend him yesterday.
You think they saw enough yesterday?
2-1 on Jacob Johnson. Called strike as Johnson, honorable mention all West Coast Conference this year.
But to your point with the adjustment that you see where Cal Poly is playing Johnson, a lot of where you play a hitter will have a lot to do with who's on the mound for you, how hard they throw.
That one sails to the backstop. Ian Armstrong will get to third on a very wild pitch.
In honor of great late Bob Uecker. This is just a sailing fastball. Taman has zero chance to catch this ball.
Now runner at third with nobody out and a full count on Johnson. Here it comes. Popped up over toward the right field line, hustling over. It's going to be a tough play, and it falls in front of Dylan Kordich. And back at first base, safe, just getting his hand back in. Jacob Johnson coming in to score as Ian Armstrong. 1-0 St. Mary's, but the Mustangs might challenge this as the pitcher Turnquist making the motion to the dugout.
Well, Mike Morris is the second base umpire, and he's the one who makes this call. The first base umpire, Eric Gaucher, or excuse me, Mike Morris is the first base umpire, and the second base umpire is Jason Bradley. Once this ball goes out,
This is a challenge for Cal Poly.
Right, the first base umpire, you see him right on your screen right there. That's Mike Morris. He's got to go out, ascertain the catch. His partner, Mike Morris, or Jason Bradley, I should say, second base umpire, comes in and takes over the call at first. Great look at it right here. Jacob Johnson is like, ooh, ball beats him right there. And it looks like if that glove is on the helmet, Roxy, looks like they're going to get an out.
But can you say it definitively that the glove was on the helmet?
This is the look that's going to give us the certainty. Right there. And you see the hand? Great look from the truck, but it looks like leather from that glove, the top of Spiridonov's glove.
No, that's the pitcher Turnquist, because Spiridonov went chasing after it.
You're correct.
Is it on the helmet, though?
Yes.
Can you say it definitively?
Yeah, if you remember this shot and then go to the center field shot, then you can basically ascertain it's the same spot where that glove was. I'm saying
live look at the NCAA Replay Operations Center, and we have a verdict.
After review, runner is out. Overturned to out. Cal Poly has 2 challenges.
It has been overturned. Cal Poly gets to keep that challenge. They still have 2.
It's a good job by Carson Turnquist. He knew right off the bat, and you caught it, Rox.
It is an RBI single for Johnson. Then he is out trying to get back to first base. 1-0 Gales, 1 out. Ian Josephson, the hitter for St. Mary's. And the freshman, 339 with 3 homers. Second team all West Coast Conference this year. And he looks at a strike from Carson Turnquist. Josephson 0 for 4 yesterday. And it's 1-1 on Josephson.
And of course, on reviews, each team gets 2. And if you're right, you keep it.
And Larry Lee was correct, and the challenge was successful. 2-1 on Josephson. Josephson part of this trio for St. Mary's that all went to Serra High School in San Mateo. And oddly enough, their teammate at Serra, Cal Poly second baseman Jake Downing. The other way, Josephson a fly ball to left. Dante Bikini back and makes the catch onto the track. It's straightaway left as Josephson gave it a ride the other way. And a long fly out. There's 2 gone.
There's some other alumni from that school, aren't there? Take a look at Dante Bikini. Let's see, Dante Bikini, a sophomore this year. Good. Says I'll take that.
There's Jared Medham. He takes ball 1.
Give me some more alumni.
Hitters. The Serra High School in San Mateo not only has produced 4 players in this game. Jared Medham's not one of them, even though he's from that area. He went to Half Moon Bay High School. Tom Brady.
Okay.
Barry Bonds.
Okay.
I could go on. Lynn Swan went to Serra High School in San Mateo, California.
That's it.
Greg Jeffries.
The guy could rake.
Medham to right center. Hustling over is Dylan Kordich, and he makes the catch and stepping onto the track to run it down into the alleyway. A run for the Gales on 2 hits. We're going to the bottom of the second. St. Mary's, the 4 seed, leading at 1-0. Our headlines for this Saturday, day 2 of the NCAA tournament. And in case you missed our first game, you missed a lot. That was a wild UCLA comeback in the bottom of the 9th in that elimination game to oust Virginia Tech. Auburn stays alive. They got their hands full with NC State. And then 9th seeded Southern Miss, the first national seed out of the tournament as they went 0-2 as Virginia took them out. Ryan Taman leads off the home second for Cal Poly. And Lucas Sarantos. And a called strike as Sarantos, an 8-pitch first inning.
As we see North Carolina State losing, their season's over, and so is the tremendous coaching career of Elliott Avent.
0-2 on Taman, the Big West co-player of the year. 357 with 16 homers for Taman. He drove in 53. His first year at Cal Poly after 2 years at the University of California.
Is that the Bears?
That would be the mighty Golden Bears to you.
Oh, well,
the 2-time national champion Cal Bears. 1-2 on Taman. Taman a couple of hits in the win against the Hokies last night. Also walked and scored a run, going 2 for 4 in their 6-2 win. The pitch, and Taman skies this out of play.
So Ryan played for Mike New, skipper.
The offensive production for Taman this year, leading the Big West in batting average, tied for first in homers, second in slug, and it's 2-2 on Taman.
Was that obviously a tremendous year, being the co-player of the year for the Big West, but behind the plate, he's been very, very good. And when you have somebody.
Taman crushes one. Left center field. It is going. It is gone. 17th for Ryan Taman, and we are tied at 1.
Standpoint why he was co-player of the year in the Big West. This is a hanging breaking pitch from Cervantes, and he does not miss it.
Another solo homer here. That's the
how many?
8th of the day in this ballpark. We've had 8 homers, all solo today.
We've set a lot of records here in a couple of days.
Here 1-0 on Cam Hoyle, the DH, who homered last night for Cal Poly. 314, 5 homers for Hoyland, and he takes a called strike. The pitch. Just missed from Lucas Cervantes. 2-1 on Hoyland. He's Hoyland from Renton, Washington, in the Seattle suburbs. Transfer from Bellevue Community College. Bounding ball to second. Cody Kashimoto charges. And on the move, gets Hoyland. There's one gone in the second, but one more look at the Ryan Taman blast.
Well, it's a breaking ball from Cervantes, and it's up. And if you throw Ryan Taman hanging breaking balls right there, they're going to end up out there by the trees. That's exactly what happened.
An absolute no-doubter. Now Jake Downing, Cal Poly second baseman. 286, a couple of homers for the sophomore. Mentioned it before, but Downing playing his high school ball with the catcher right there in your screen. Ian Armstrong at Serra High School in San Mateo. The third baseman, Ian Josephson, also attending Serra. And the anticipated starter for tonight, Eric Valenzuela, threw a curveball, and all indications were they were going to start Sam Kretsch tonight, who started the second game of the WCC tournament for the Gales, but instead went with a hot hand, although Kretsch pitched tremendously in Scottsdale for Eric Valenzuela. But Lucas Cervantes, who pitched last Saturday night and got the win when the Gales won the WCC tournament final, and he gets the nod tonight.
Well, this is what happens, Roxy, in regionals, as you know, across the country.
And a strikeout for Cervantes. 2 outs.
Real good slider down and in from Cervantes, but we've talked about it and across the country. Get a look at the bite on this slider down and in. But the questioning of starters in game 1. I mean, we saw Andrew Checketts, UC Santa Barbara, arguably has the #1 pick in the MLB draft as far as pitchers go, and Jackson Flora held him back.
USC, Andy Stankiewicz did that.
And Andy Stankiewicz held out #1 projected pitcher, left-handed pitcher Mason Edwards.
But they weren't alone.
No, that's what I'm saying.
There was a number of programs that did that.
It happens, and it happens every year. And so it's easy for us to sit on this chair and up here and question, right? And go, well, why did you do that? Because it didn't work.
No swing on appeal, says Mike Morris down at first. 1 ball, 1 strike, and Casey Murray Jr. here with 2 down.
And then when we throw up the statistics that say if you win game 1, 93% of the chance, right? or I should say 93% of the time you win game one, you got a chance to win the regional. But that said, nobody knows their pitchers and their players better than the coaches.
1-2 the count on Murray Jr. Here comes. And it's just high. 2-2 the count. And earlier today, John Sheff, they went with Brett Renfroe today and not yesterday. He'd been their #1 all year. He was only able to get through 4 innings because of an elevated pitch count against UCLA. As Casey Murray Jr. bends out of the way, and a full count now with 2 down.
That said, Renfroe gave his club an opportunity to win the game.
Four hits last night for Casey Murray Jr. And he grounds it to third. Ian Josephson, it skips by him. And it rolls down toward the left field corner, and Murray on his way to second. And a 2-out base runner, and that was misplayed at third by Ian Josephson. And a runner out there at second for the Mustangs.
We'll get a look at this ground ball hit by Murray Jr. This is just basically the feet. You see the right foot. Josephson dropping it back, and this is a ball where you really got to body up because you need to know who the hitter is and who the runner is. You actually got to come to this ball.
Now it's the first baseman, Gavin Spiridonov. And it's ball 1, a .284 hitter with 3 homers. They have ruled that an error on Josephson, and
it should be.
And backing up, you never want to do that on a ground ball if you can help it.
It's all right sometimes if it's one large hopper based on who's running, because as a defender on the infield, your #1 thing that you need to know is how fast is the runner. Because once you know that, you put it in your computer, then your body will react the right way.
Fouled off by Gavin Spiridonov. 2-1 on the Cal Poly first baseman. Casey Murray Jr. out there at second base. As Spiridonov was 0 for 5 last night. Sarantos, check of the runner. Now the pitch. And that's in there. It's 2-2. The old expression, play the ball, don't let the ball play you.
Very good.
That's kind of what
that's it. No, that's exactly. And of course, we're not picking on Joseph. We're just saying this is terminologies in baseball. That's all.
Nice scoop by Armstrong behind the plate, and a full count on Gavin Spiridonov.
In fact, Josephson last night made some good plays, or yesterday.
Some stellar plays last night. Sarantos. The pitch. Fouled away. And we'll do it again. And after an economical 9-pitch first inning, the pitch count rising for Lucas Sarantos here in the second. It's 26 already in this frame for Lucas Sarantos. Ground ball. That one on the short hop. Tough play. Ian Josephson makes it into dig on the backhand by Makoa Sniffen. As Ian Josephson redeems himself right there. We're 1-1 as Ryan Taman tied it up for Cal Poly.
Well, the Big West Co-Player of the Year, who leads the Mustangs in home runs, gives us a little example of why.
It is the NCAA Baseball Regionals presented by Capital One. The Los Angeles Regional just across the 405 from the UCLA campus, and a 1-1 ball game in this winner's bracket matchup between St. Mary's and Cal Poly. Nick Allred leads off the third for the Gales. 8-9-1 for St. Mary's. Cody Kashimoto, Tanner Griffith to follow. As Allred a .307 hitter with 3 homers. 1 for 4 yesterday against the Bruins. And it's 1-1 on Allred. The junior from Whittier, California. Allred transferred from Division II San Francisco State. And a program that is now defunct. Last year was the final year for the San Francisco State Gators. And Nick Allred had to go find a place to play when they closed down that program. And a successful Division II program, unfortunately, is gone. Mighty cut, and Allred down swinging. Second strikeout for Carson Turnquist. The Los Angeles Regional will match up in the Super Regionals against the Morgantown Regional, where right now it's Kentucky, and Nick Mingione's team is in the driver's seat after they beat the Mountaineers. Just completed an 11-9 win in Morgantown. So tomorrow, in an elimination game, it is Wake Forest taking on West Virginia, and then Kentucky gets that winner in the regional final.
Well, I think out of all the teams that showed up on selection Monday, Roxy, Kentucky was the most talked about team as to why. Why did they get in?
Cody Kashimoto, .272, senior second baseman. And it's 1-1 on Kashimoto from Kaneohe, Hawaii.
Don't look at me like I'm gonna.
But okay, here's some more high school trivia. He attended the legendary Punahou School over in Honolulu.
Okay.
All right. Who attended Punahou? Called strike to Kashimoto.
Give me a few more pitches.
He is a big basketball fan.
How about, hold on, Marcus Mariota?
No, he went to St. Louis. Think a big basketball fan, but you don't think of him for athletics.
Big basketball fan, but you don't.
1-2. Swing and a miss. Kashimoto chasing. Third strikeout for Turnquist.
You got any more clues? Big basketball. Big basketball fan, but he wasn't. But he wasn't a basketball player.
Not professionally. Two gone here in the top of the third. Back to the top of the order, and Tanner Griffith takes a strike.
Well, this is really not fair, because how many years did you go over there with Jay Billis and do hoop in Maui?
That has nothing to do with it.
It does.
And Maui's a different island.
Doesn't matter. It's still
Found
the
away
island.
by Griffith.
And you're over there. So, I mean, basically you lived there every year.
0-2 on Griffith. He struck out to lead off the ball game. Think of politics.
I don't want to.
That's a hint. Strike 3 call. Griffith gone looking as Carson Turnquist strikes out the side. How about the number 44? Does that do anything for you? A look at our bracket for the Los Angeles Regional, where earlier today, that game we're all still recovering from. UCLA, that elimination win over Virginia Tech, and it's going to take a long time for the Hokies to get over that one. They were in a position to knock out the #1 seed. Had a 2-run lead to the 9th, but UCLA pulls it out. And the Bruins will play tomorrow afternoon against our loser. And the winner of this matchup will move into the regional final tomorrow night. 1-1, last of the third. Dante Bikini leads it off, and it's strike one.
Well, John Szefc's Hokies pushed the Bruins the entire game, and when they got that 2-run lead, Roxy, it really seemed like that was it. And then the leadoff hitter, Mulavai.
Chopper, and that gets into left field, and Dante Bikini with a hit to open up the bottom of the third. As Bikini, who had 3 hits last night, and that's his 4th hit of this regional.
This is what we saw last year, Roxy, up in Eugene in the Eugene Regional. Just a freshman last year. Bikini was in the middle of everything good that happened for the Mustangs, and this is why. He can fly, and he puts the ball in play, and that's all he's concerned about. Not concerned about hitting home runs.
Now it's Nate Castellón, the top of the order, and a comebacker off the glove of Sorrentos, fielded by Jared Menem, flips. Cody Kashimoto, 2, a double play. Just your traditional 1-6-4-3 double play.
Well, 99% of the time, pitching coaches will tell pitchers, get out of the way of this ball if it's going towards up the middle, and it could be a potential double play. Not this one. Lucas Sorrentos says, don't worry about this, I'll handle it. Over to Menem, to Kashimoto, to Sniffin. Routine.
2 gone for Alejandro Garza. A ground out in the first. And it's strike one from Lucas Sorrentos. And your trivia answer for this high school, a Punahou school over in Hawaii that produced Cody Kashimoto. Barack Obama attended that school.
Now I was thinking about since the hockey final in NHL, Las Vegas and the Hurricanes,
Vegas Golden Knights.
Now
the former Hartford Whalers, the Carolina Hurricanes.
Would Sorrentos get an assist in hockey for that?
No, well, yes, because it's the secondary assist on the first out.
Well, right.
Because they do give 2 assists on goals. 1 and 2 on Garza.
And there is a rumor that you actually can ice skate and play recreational hockey or league hockey.
It's not a rumor, it's confirmed.
It is.
Yeah.
Would you be surprised if I told you the 2 times that I tried to do?
That you were injured both times?
No, I just didn't realize how difficult it was. That's all I can say.
The pitch to Garza, and it's in tight from Sorrentos.
Give you an idea, I was very cold in all parts of my body. And sweaty.
At the same time.
That's why I'm hanging on to the rail. That's why I'm hanging on to the rail when this is going on.
That's not a good combination right there.
No, it's not.
Reaching for it, fighting it off, and Alejandro Garza stays alive.
Well, Garza last year was the most difficult hitter in NCAA to strike out. This year, he's in the top 11, but that last swing is a perfect example of why. And you talked about it, Rox. He doesn't take very many pitches, but somebody doesn't take very many pitches, but doesn't strike out. That means he's got good hand-eye coordination. And that last ball was down and away out of the zone.
The motion from Sorrentos, and again the 3-2. Check swing, did it go? No on appeal. And it's ball 4 and a 2-out walk issued to Garza.
Mike Morris, the first base umpire. This is going to look real close. You're you're a Gales fan, you might not like this call, but it's on further review. It's a real good call by Mike Morris.
And Garza doesn't walk much.
It's hard to walk him.
He's walked only 11 times this year. And he's being held on by a guy over at first that doesn't walk much for St. Mary's. Makoa Sniffen's only walked 13 times himself. Here is Dylan Kordich. And it's strike one. Ground out for Kordich in the first. A run on 3 hits for the Gales, a run on 2 hits for Cal Poly. The 1-strike pitch. And that just missed from Sarantos, 1-1. Sarantos with 2 brilliant outings at the WCC tournament. We told you about the start he made against USF last Saturday night. He also worked in relief against Pepperdine the first game of that tournament. As just back at the bag is Garza. And a little slow to get up, but he does get back up on his feet over at first base. And he was the winning pitcher in their first game of that tournament against Pepperdine.
Look at this pick. Sarantos' feet.
That's why he needed a moment. That one hit off Garza after it deflected from the first baseman Sniffen's glove. But he went 3 scoreless innings against Pepperdine. When St. Mary's was staring their season ending, they were shut down by the Waves. In that play-in game on the first day of the WCC tournament, Scottsdale, they were down 2-0. They were getting shut out on just 3 hits through 7 innings. And then their offense erupted. They scored 9 times. Nine times? In the 8th inning, sending 14 to the plate against Pepperdine. And they won the game 9-2, and Sarantos was the beneficiary. In the air to left toward the line. Nick Allred toward the corner, crossing into foul ground, and he makes the catch to retire the side. A hit, a runner left. We are 1-1 heading to the 4th in this winner's bracket game. The head coach of the Mustangs, Larry Lee, next. We're 1-1 to the 4th in this winner's bracket game between Cal Poly and St. Mary's with Wes Clements and our ESPN crew. Roxy Bernstein with you at Jackie Robinson Stadium, joined by Larry Lee, the head coach of the Cal Poly Mustangs. And last night, that win against Virginia Tech, Larry, the offensive approach, what did you like about your at-bats you as a group had last night?
We just battled. We didn't square up a lot of balls, but we put the ball in play. We limited our strikeouts and just utilize, putting the ball in play and got some good hops for us.
Well, Larry, if you can talk about your starter on the mound, Carson Turnquist, on when he's right, what it looks like, and when you have what he does that gives you a warning sign that maybe it's time.
Well, second inning came out and it was just different. The ball came out of his hand a lot firmer, a lot freer. Fastball, changeup, curveball. So he's been probably in the middle of our season our most consistent starting pitcher.
Larry, appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Larry Lee, 2, 3, and 4 for the Gales against Turnquist in the 4th. Diego Castellanos, Makoa Sniffen, and Ian Armstrong. Castellanos a flyout in the first. He is 0 for 1. 1-1 in the fourth. The pitch.
Larry
That's
Lee,
inside ball 2.
one of the best. 24th year at Cal Poly. 9 seasons with 35 wins or more. 19 top 4 finishes.
And he gets to live in San Luis Obispo. That's good living. 2-1. And also the father of a major leaguer.
He is. Brooks, the Minnesota Twins.
Played for him at Cal Poly. As the 2-1 pitch on the way. Castellanos flares one to left. Hangs up there for Dante Bikini, and there's one away. 6 straight retired by Turnquist. The NCAA Regionals coverage for all 16 sites continues tomorrow on ESPN Plus and the ESPN app. For more information, visit ncaa.com, the home for all NCAA championships. 1 gone here in the third. Now Makoa Sniffen to face Carson Turnquist.
You see that base on ball 0. And that's what Larry Lee had told me earlier today. When he's throwing strikes, he's real good.
Oh, 0-2 on Sniffen, who singled in the first inning, rather. I mentioned Brooks Lee, the son of Larry Lee. The Minnesota Twins, the San Luis Obispo native, who made his major league debut back in July of 2024. And you and I talked to Larry Lee. We had him in our regional last year in Eugene. And when he was retelling the story of Larry and his wife trying to make it to Minnesota for the major league debut of Brooks, as he got a late call-up. And then they were trying to race from San Luis Obispo. Their plane was delayed, and it was an extremely tight connection through LAX. He and his wife are literally sprinting from terminal to terminal at LAX. Anybody who's been there knows how spread out and how much of a nightmare that airport is. They just missed their connection. They saw it pulling away. They had to spend the night at the terminal there at LAX, catch the first flight. They missed Brooks's major league debut, unfortunately. Made it there for game 2, but they do have a story to tell about it. Sniffen down chasing. 5 strikeouts for Carson Turnquist.
Just a beautiful slider down and away right there. Perfectly located. But when we talked to him the other day about Brooks, boy, you can tell how proud he is, can't you?
Larry Lee could talk, and when he was talking about Brooks,
yeah,
he could really talk.
Yeah, and it's different though, but it's different, right? Because they talk a lot.
The pride of a dad.
They talk a lot. Brooks played shortstop initially in the big leagues. They moved him over this year to third base, which I truly believe is going to be a great spot for him. Less responsibility. Not that he can't play that, because organizations know that he can play. But when you put somebody at third base that has the hands and feet that Brooks has, they can concentrate on hitting a lot more.
Ball and 2 strikes on Ian Armstrong, who doubled and scored in the second.
Most wins as a head coach in the Big West Conference.
The 1-2. Way outside. 2-2 on Ian Armstrong. Back-to-back Big West tournament titles for Cal Poly. In fact, they're the only winners of the Big West tournament because it's only been around for 2 years. Last year at Fullerton, this year held at UC Irvine. And it's full now on Armstrong, as not close was Turnquist.
Well, when you talk about Big West Conference, they had a vote on how many teams they want to qualify for the Big West tournament. And the option was 6 or 5. And ended up being 5. Of course, Ben Orloff, the head coach at UC Irvine, one of the greats, I don't want to say greats, one of the best on the West Coast.
Over the mound, near second base, Nate Castillon throws out Ian Armstrong, and a 1-2-3 inning for Turnquist. On to the home fourth. Middle third of the order coming up for Cal Poly. Well, the pitchers tonight, Carson Turnquist for Cal Poly, Lucas Sarantos for St. Mary's. And they're their lines so far in this one of a 1-1 ball game to the last of the fourth. Middle third of the order for Cal Poly coming up against Sarantos. Ryan Taman, Cam Hoyland, Jake Downing.
Well, Sarantos, a sophomore, and Turnquist, a freshman, dealing. But back to my thought, when I was talking about Ben Orloff, when I said not one of the greats, but not one of the greats. He's a very, very good. And we need a first base coach, but he's a real good coach, and he was mentored under one of the greats in Mike Gillespie.
Ryan Taman blisters one through the left side. Homer in the second, now singles to lead off the fourth.
Well, I tell you what, you get the sense that you just don't want to throw a strike to Ryan Taman right now, Roxy. You throw a ball middle up, and Ryan Taman is going to find a hole somewhere.
Now it's Cam Hoyland to the plate. The DH for the Mustangs. He takes ball one, grounded out in the second. Third straight inning that Cal Poly has had the leadoff guy aboard against Sarantos. And that one's grounded sharply foul past first.
This is what Hoyland did yesterday. Little oppo to left field, Roxy.
Fifth home run for Hoyland. And their 6-2 win over the Hokies. And it's 2-1 on Cam Hoyland here with Ryan Taman, the runner, at first. Cal Poly finished second in the Big West this year. As UC Santa Barbara, Big West champs, and Hoyland, a drive to right. It is way back there. It has hit a ton. It is gone. second of the regional. And Cal Poly with a 3-1 lead.
One of those cutters we talked about that appears at time to look like a slider, 85 miles an hour.
Ball one to Jake Downing. That was hammered by Cam Hoyland. 2-0 on Downing, struck out in the second.
Well, it was the first for today, as it's going to be a trip out to the mound, but take a look at this pitch. It's a cutter. We talked about it. He's got a cutter to Cervantes, and sometimes it works like a slider, and you can see Lucas Cervantes' body language once his ball leaves the barrel of the bat of Cam Hoyland. It's a no-doubter, but a first for the day, Roxy. The first non-solo home run.
And our 9th homer of the day, and it took until the 9th home run to have a guy aboard. (2-0) on Downing after Eric Valenzuela's mound visit. Lucas Cervantes, and it's 3-0. I see some stirring now heading in the St. Mary's bullpen direction. The pitch, and it's ball 4, and Downing is aboard. And for Cervantes, the second walk he has issued.
Yeah, this is the warning signs Eric Valenzuela told us before the game. What to look for if Cervantes starts falling behind.
Now it's Casey Murray Jr. reached on an error in the second. Pitch number 60 upcoming for Lucas Cervantes. That is a strike to Casey Murray Jr.
Casey Murray Jr. yesterday was so focused with 2 strikes. He wanted to put the ball in play at all cost, and it paid off for him.
Now he's got 2 strikes, so he's ready to hit now. That's what you're telling me.
Yeah, and every time he got 2 strikes yesterday, you could just see him just squat down a little bit more, emphasis on putting the ball in play, which is exactly what Larry Lee's clubs do.
Cervantes, the pitch. Blew it by him. There's some anger behind that fastball.
Well, that's 93 with some run on the outside part, but to your point, it looked like it had a little more oomph on the end of it. This is all about location. I mean, you can choke.
One out. Now it's Gavin Spiridonov, a ground out in the second. Back to first goes Jake Downing. One 1-0 on Spiridonov, still looking for his first hit of this regional. Lucas Cervantes wheels it over to first. Back is Downing. Cal Poly, we mentioned this last night, but it bears repeating. They don't run much.
Downing just 1 for 2.
They have 21 steals as a team, and there are 2 players that have 4. That's the most for any Mustang. One and 1 the count on Gavin Spiridonov. Showed bunt there.
As Castellan and Garza both have 4.
Another move to first. Cal Poly last weekend, when they won the Big West tournament, they scored a total of 11 runs over their 4 games. Yet they still walked away with the crown. That's a liner to center and sinking. And it falls in front of Tanner Griffith, and it kicks away. Jake Downing on his way to third. And a sharp single by Downing, or rather by Spiridonov, his first hit of this regional. And now they're runners at the corners with 1 out.
So once this ball's hit, it's a line drive. You're the runner at first. In this case, it's Jake Downing. He's got to make sure and read this ball, make sure it's down. But he does a tremendous job. Once it goes off Tanner Griffith, ball's in front of him. Get a better look of it here. He's his own baseball coach, and he's his base coach. Makes a decision on his own. Good decision. Mustangs set up first and third.
Dante Bikini singled his first time up, and the safety squeeze, and he fouls it off. That may have taken a bite out of our plate umpire, Eric Gaucher. A single, and then they charged Tanner Griffith with an error, allowing Downing to get to third.
Right. Now, we've watched Larry Lee's clubs, Roxy, over the years, and this is a part of their repertoire of their offense. A safety squeeze, squeeze bunts, hit and run, and everything else. And it's the full bag of tricks of the offense. And I say that affectionately because it's beautiful type of baseball. Once your opponent, if you show your opponent you're never going to bunt, they don't have to worry about it. So they don't have to play the corners in.
Talon Gardini begins loosening in the St. Mary's bullpen. 1-strike pitch. In the air, this will get out of play as it's sprayed over near the Cal Poly bullpen, and it's 0-2 on Dante Bikini, the 9-hitter.
But ideally, the Gales would like to get a ground ball double play, but Bikini runs so well, it's going to be very difficult unless the ball's hit right on the button, right at somebody.
One and two the count on Dante Bikini. The pitch. Smothered by Ian Armstrong. Surprising matchup. But you look at Talon Gardini getting loose. Of the 3 and the 4 seeds in this winner's bracket game, and the Stunners St. Mary's pulled off yesterday, beating UCLA. And then last night, Cal Poly, the 3 seed, beat the 2 seed Virginia Tech. The pitch. And it's now full. It's Bikini. Bikini's trying to sell that he got hit by it. He doesn't think it was ball 4.
Yeah.
He thought it hit him, and now he wants to challenge it.
Reminiscent of Phoenix call at the Big Ten tournament.
Cal Poly is challenging the call of no hit by. Going to review.
Now you have to be very sure as a skipper and a head coach, and you have to trust your players because you only get 2 challenges a game.
Yeah, that hit him.
It got him in his back foot.
And you could see the carob there, and it ricocheted in toward the catcher Ian Armstrong after it hit off the foot of Dante Bikini.
Yeah, the deflection. The redirection, Roxy. Center field look is the best, I think. Right here. Again, we say it a lot. Couldn't say it enough. Camera crew is amazing.
If this call gets overturned, the bases will be loaded with 1 out and back to the top of the order for Cal Poly. The call in the field was no hit by pitch. As we're looking into the NCAA Replay Operations Center, in communication with our umpires here at Jackie Robinson Stadium in Los Angeles.
One big family is NCAA postseason. The Mustangs already had a review go their way, so they kept their 2. But to your point, Roxy, Vicchini went right to his helmet. The only thing that I would say is that normally when you get hit in the foot, you're barking and it hurts and you're jumping around.
So you're saying you're taking to me Dante Vicchini soft because he didn't hop around and
After review,
he's in an agony?
Not at all.
the batter was hit by the pitch. This pitch is overturned. Cal Poly has 2 challenges remaining.
First hit by pitch of the season. And for Dante Vicchini, they're loaded with 1 out and back to the top of the order for the Mustangs.
This is a obvious dangerous situation for the Gales right now with Nate Castagnon coming up. One of the best contact hitters in the entire country.
Hit into a double play as last time. He is 0 for 2. Strike 1 from Lucas Sarantos. One ball, 1 strike.
Fair to say, Roxy, you can't ever score enough runs to beat St. Mary's. 3rd best hitting team in the country. So when you have these opportunities, you need to take advantage of it.
They've got firepower, that's for sure. Into left, Nate Castagnon with an RBI single. Station to station, everybody moves up 90 feet, and it's 4-1 Mustangs.
This is not a bad pitch by Sarantos. Just a great job of hitting by Castagnon. It's a breaking ball down and away, and you see this plate coverage that he has. Just feathers it in the left field. Fooled a little bit, and that's why he's out in front. Kept the bat in the zone long enough to line a single to left and pass the baton off to Garza.
Garza 0 for 1 with a walk. 8th batter of the inning for Cal Poly. And it's strike 1. You surprised that Eric Valenzuela is sticking with Sarantos with the struggles here in the 4th?
Well, here's the thing, is that there is a game tomorrow regardless of what happens today. And if anybody knows what his plan is, it's eval, as we affectionately call him, Eric Valenzuela.
0-2 the count on Garza. Two. Bases full for Cal Poly. 1 out. The pitch. And it's ball 1 to Alejandro Garza.
Rare sight. A pitch thrown where Garza doesn't swing. Great hand-eye coordination.
Surprisingly, he walked his last time. Blocked by Ian Armstrong.
Real good job by Armstrong behind the dish. This is a slider that the intent of the pitcher was trying to throw his best slider he's ever thrown in his life. Thus, he hung on to it just a little bit too long and spiked it.
High chop, tough play. Ian Josephson. Fields has 1 play, gets the out at first. Coming in to score is Gavin Spiridonov. The other runners move up, an RBI for Garza. And it's 5-1 Cal Poly.
And you file this under the approach that Larry Lee has instilled in his hitters. contact, put the ball in play. Something good can happen if you put the ball in play, and that's exactly what Garza did. It wasn't pretty. It was a high chopper. Runner at third, less than 2 outs. Another run plated. Another trip out to the mound, Roxy.
A 4-run inning, and that's going to be it for Lucas Sarantos. It's Eric Valenzuela making a change. He summons the lefty Talon Gardini. Cal Poly has broken it open here in the bottom of the 4th inning, and a 4-run lead and threatening for more.
Welcome to Squeeze Play. All the highlights, all the big moments.
You got a chance to have some big-time fireworks.
6 to 8 games on the screen at one time.
You're going to be locked in for that.
The season on the line.
Hashtag Squeeze Play. Send us some tweets. Maybe we'll put you on the social wall.
The storybook season will continue. Squeeze Play continues tomorrow into Monday for those if necessary games. And our Los Angeles Regional in this winner's bracket matchup between Cal Poly and St. Mary's. The loser will play UCLA tomorrow afternoon as Lucas Sarantos lifted after 3 2/3. And he leaves the bases full here in the bottom of the 4th inning. And a 5-1 lead for Cal Poly. And the new pitcher is the lefty Talon Gardini, a sophomore from San Diego. And Gardini inherits those 2 runners on, an ERA of 5.5 for Gardini, a 1-4 record. And there's runners at 2nd and 3rd with 2 down.
So there's a good reason why Gardini is in the game right now. Left-handers hit just 172 off him.
Dylan Kordich is 0 for 2. And it's strike 1 from Gardini. First appearance of this regional for Gardini. Pitched 1 time at the WCC tournament last weekend. And it's out of play off the bat at Bikini. It's quickly 0-2. He started against Pacific last Friday night in a winner's bracket game. And he went 4 1/3 innings, giving up 4 runs on 6 hits. In fact, each of his last 3 appearances have been starts. And a breaking ball is fought off by Dylan Kordich, and will do it again. Four-run inning and threatening for more. Sarantos giving up 6 hits, walked 2, struck out 2 in his 3 2/3.
Fair to say, Rox, the first day and a half have given us everything we wanted and a little bit more.
Biggest upset in tournament history yesterday. And then a thrilling, stunning comeback earlier today. That one off the glove of Armstrong. Another run for the Mustangs. Dante Bikini races in. To third goes Nate Castellón. 6-1 Cal Poly.
This is a tough one for Ian Armstrong because every pitch that Gardini had thrown previously was down, 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 and this is a fastball that just runs, and he's expecting it. Here's what Armstrong was looking at.
Gardini stared at the mound as if he caught his spike on that follow through there. And a disastrous bottom of the fourth for Eric Valenzuela and the Gales. And he lost him. Another wild pitch. And it's 7-1 Mustangs.
Gardini lets this sail up and in, and that ball should have been caught by Ian Armstrong, and I'm sure he's the first one to tell you I should have caught that
ball. Second at bat of the inning for Ryan Taman, who signaled to start this 6-run rally. And it's a called strike. A 1-1 ball game until the bottom of the fourth. And Cal Poly has scored 6 and still batting. Oh, 0-2 on Taman. He has homered already in this game, 2 for 2. And 4 hits in the 2 games so far of this Los Angeles Regional for the co-Big West Player of the Year. One and 2 the count. Kordich the runner at first for the Mustangs. Talon Gardini, the pitch. And fought off by Taman, and will do it again. This has been a long half inning.
Well, you mentioned Ryan Taman, co-Big West Player of the Year. He shared it with Paul Contreras of Cal State Fullerton.
Combined 40 pitches between Cervantes and Gardini. 6 runs on 4 hits. An error, a couple of wild pitches. As Taman fouls it straight back. A couple of walks, a hit batter. And a 7-1 lead for the Mustangs. Cal Poly's been at the plate for about 25 minutes now. So their pitcher Carson Turnquist has been sitting for a bit. I'm sure he doesn't mind with his team scoring all these runs if he has to sit for a while.
No, at times you might see him go down the sideline, right field line, and play catch or go into the pen, but I'm sure they gave him the option.
There is activity in the St. Mary's bullpen. A delayed steal, breaking late. Ian Armstrong's throw offline. Goes into center. As Dylan Kordich takes second base on that delayed steal.
Well, what's a delayed steal? It's a couple large shuffles, and once you don't leave until the ball crosses the plate, and the goal is to catch your catcher sleeping or a middle infielder sleeping. And what helped the play there for the Mustangs was the type of pitch, off speed in the dirt.
Full count on Ryan Taman, the cleanup batter for Cal Poly. Popped up. This will get out of play. As giving it a look is Makoa Sniffen, but lands on top of the Gales dugout and bounces up into the crowd. Cal Poly with 7 runs on 6 hits. And 6 of those runs and 4 of those hits in this inning. Dylan Cordich out there at second. The pitch. And it's ball 4. And that is another free pass for Cal Poly. And that will bring up Cam Hoyland, who's already homered in this inning.
This is Cam's previous at bat. A slider down and in 27 minutes ago, and this was a no-doubter to right center. And at the time, put the Mustangs up 3-1. Since have plated 4 more runs.
2 on, 2 out. Runners at first and second for Hoyland, who's 1 for 2 in the ball game. And he takes a strike, and he has now 2 homers in this regional after a solo shot against Virginia Tech last night. And it's 0-2 on Hoyland. 4 hits, including a homer, 3 walks, a hit batter, 2 wild pitches, and a stolen base. And Cal Poly is still batting. This has been
And a partridge in a pear tree.
a disastrous bottom of the 4th for the Gales. In the air, left field. Over toward the line goes Nick Allred. Crossing over, makes the catch in foul ground. And mercifully, the side is retired. Cal Poly sends 11 to the plate. They score 6. 7-1 Mustangs. Eric Valenzuela, Gales head coach, next. We go to the 5th inning. Cal Poly 7, St. Mary's 1. We're joined by the head coach of the St. Mary's Gales and Eric Valenzuela. I know it was tough to watch, Eric, there in the bottom of the 4th, but how much confidence do you have in this offense, considering, okay, you're down significantly, but you have that firepower to come back?
A lot of game left. Yeah, a lot of game left. They did a great job that inning with Lucas, and then you know, we had a couple wild pitches there with talent coming in. But there's a lot of game left. We just got to stay with it, stay positive. We're not going to look at that scoreboard. We're just going to play the game here and 1 inning at a time. And you know, our offense is very capable of putting multiple runs up. So yeah, we're good.
Well, Eval, you have the most wins for the Gales program as a head coach. You left for about 4 years in Long Beach State. What made you come back?
Well, I love my time at Long Beach. You know, it was an opportunity for my family, and I had to come home to LA, where my wife and I were from, or are from. But my kids grew up in the Bay Area, and I mean, the love and support that we have at St. Mary's College and the Bay Area, which we love, and it was just it's just such a great feeling to be back in Moraga, and yeah, I'm just happy for the opportunity to be back.
Historic win yesterday for your team. How do you turn the page for tonight?
Well, we got to keep playing. I mean, there's a lot of baseball to be played right here, and this is a good Cal Poly team. They've been good all year long, and you know, we definitely have a challenge on our hands here in the top of the fifth. So a lot of baseball though, and I really you know, I love our offense, and yeah, we'll keep it rolling.
Eval, appreciate the time. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Eric Valenzuela, the head coach of the Gales, and Jacob Johnson was instrumental in that win yesterday. He's driven in the run for St. Mary's tonight. And it's 1-2 in the Gales DH leading off the fifth. And he's developed some impressive pitchers over the last 2 years. You look at his 2 stints at St. Mary's.
Corbin Burns.
Blistered foul. Corbin Burns, Tony Gonsolin. Just to name a couple. There is a proud history at St. Mary's.
Well, there's somebody else. There's somebody else that I know.
Von Hayes, Tom Candiotti.
Candy, teammate.
And it just missed to Johnson. It's 2-2. And the funny story about Tom Candiotti.
Finally, I get to hear it.
So when he went to St. Mary's, Candy wasn't going there to play baseball. 2-2 to Johnson. And a strike 3 call outside edge. And that's the 6th strikeout for Carson Turnquist. And there's one away here in the 5th. That's now 9 straight retired by the Mustangs right-hander.
Real tight slider on the outside part from Turnquist.
Now it's Ian Josephson with 1 out. Fly out in the 2nd, and it's ball 1. So Tom Candiotti, when he originally went to St. Mary's, he was going to St. Mary's to play tennis. He wasn't going to play baseball. And then Tom, I don't know how serious this was, but jokingly kind of, told me that, well, he saw the baseball team was going over to Hawaii for a series.
No,
and he was looking at, okay, the schedule for the year, and do I want to play tennis, or would I want to go play baseball and go to Hawaii for a weekend? And because the baseball team was going to Hawaii, Candy said, you know what, I'm gonna play baseball.
Well,
his dad played baseball at St. Mary's.
Right. Well, he's a former teammate, so knowing him, knowing Candy pretty well, I'm sure that's 100% true.
2-2 the count on Josephson.
I mean, why would I want to run around a tennis court when I can get on a plane and go to Hawaii?
And at the time, he knew the knuckleball back in his St. Mary's days, but he wasn't a knuckleball pitcher back then. He had a good fastball. And he also had good breaking ball, curve, a change.
He had it all. He had a full repertoire. And that's when I first started catching, was in 3A, when we were both with the Brewers, and our catchers went down, both of them. Treblehorn asked me, can you catch?
Josephson pulls it into right, past the diving first baseman Gavin Spiridonoff, and Ian Josephson a 1-out single. And a base runner for St. Mary's to bring up Jared Medham.
This is an off-speed pitch on the outside part. This will happen a lot of times, that an off-speed pitch on the outside part will get hooked by left-handers in that 3-4 hole, and it's a good job by Josephson keeping the bat in the hitter zone long enough.
A fly out for Jared Medham in the 2nd, the St. Mary's shortstop. The pitch popped up, foul ground near the St. Mary's dugout, and Ryan Taman is there to grab it.
But back to the Candy story. So I ended up catching, and that's when he really started focusing on throwing, speaking of Tom Candiotti, his knuckleball. We'll get a look at some glove work by Ryan Taman.
But he threw hard. It wasn't like he was a knuckleballer. He was a pitcher that happened to throw the knuckleball.
It was, and
that one hit Nick Allred, and there's 2 on for St. Mary's.
but it really was fun catching him because of what you just said, Roxy, is that Candy still could rush it up there 93 miles an hour with an immaculate curveball slider. And so hitters got confused, and the knuckleball obviously was tremendous. And he went on to have a long career, successful career in the big leagues after that.
And a proud St. Mary's Gale, Tom Candiotti. Gales trying to push their way back into the game, 2 on 2 out. Cody Kashimoto, the 9-hitter for St. Mary's, struck out in the 3rd. Fouled back.
Well, we just talked to Eric Valenzuela, the skipper for the Gales, and he said a lot of game left. And he wasn't joking. We're talking about the #3 hitting team in the entire country. And if somehow Kashimoto can reach base here, they turn over the top of this powerful lineup.
Georgia Tech, the #1 hitting team in the country, as the Yellow Jackets, 358 hitting team.
Just insane.
Texas Tech, by the way, 344, they're second, and then you have St. Mary's. Georgia Tech, by the way, and control that Atlanta regional, as they are the #2 national seed. As they had some weather problems yesterday, and that regional only had 1 game played, as Georgia Tech hammered Illinois Chicago yesterday. And then they needed to play 3 games starting early today in Atlanta. Oklahoma won the first game against the Citadel. High chop right side. Charging in at second. Jake Downing throws out Cody Kashimoto, and the Gales are gone here in the 5th. 1 hit, 2 left. We're going to the last of the 5th in LA. 7-1 Cal Poly. To the bottom of the 5th we go here in this winner's bracket game between Cal Poly and St. Mary's at the Los Angeles Regional at Jackie Robinson Stadium. And the winner advances to the regional final tomorrow night here in LA. And the loser will have to come back tomorrow afternoon and deal with the top seed in the tournament, the UCLA Bruins, after their Impressive comeback against Virginia Tech in the bottom of the 9th in our elimination game earlier today. Jake Downing, first pitch, liner to left, and right toward Nick Allred coming in, and there's 1 pitch and 1 out here in the last of the 5th.
Did you say impressive or what amazing?
I keep trying to change the adjectives because it was just remarkable what UCLA did.
I've never seen anything like it in my life. And if you just joined us and you missed it, the Bruins were down 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th. Mulavai Levu, the number 3 hitter for the Bruins, got a 3-2 count and kept fouling off pitches and got a 3-2 slider that he lined a mile over the right field wall. And Roman Martin, the next hitter, stepped up, same kind of situation, fouled off pitch after pitch after pitch, and he lined a ball over the left field wall, and just like that the game was tied. And then you can take it from here, Brox, because I'm just.
And then Will Gasparino reached on an infield hit, and he ended up scoring the winning run with 1 out of the bottom of the 9th on the single by Phoenix Call that won the game for UCLA.
And the ironic thing about that, in the Big Ten tournament, Phoenix Call was at the plate when the Bruins won the Big Ten Conference tournament. Got it a little different way. Today he got it with a line drive base hit to left. At the Big Ten tournament, it was on a hit by pitch that ultimately ended up being reviewed.
And that forced in the winning run. 3-1. Casey Murray Jr. slams it out of play.
You know something crazy's happening in a game that when your phone is blowing up with 50 texts, because at that point in time you could argue the whole country was watching the game.
Bounce wide of the bag. Casey Murray Jr. fights it off, and we'll do it again. Six-run 4th inning for Cal Poly, and a 6-run lead for the Mustangs as Casey Murray Jr. digs in. Reached on an error in the 2nd. He is 0 for 2, and he takes strike 3 call right in there from Talon Gardini, and there's 2 outs. This was earlier today, and if you missed the ball game, 4th consecutive win for UCLA in a walk-off variety, and their 4th this postseason. They won each of their 3 games of the Big Ten tournament from walk-offs.
The most come from behind victories by any team this year is this Bruins club that we're talking about, and never had they lost 2 consecutive games the entire year. And that obviously is still intact.
Gavin Spiridonov singled and scored in that 6-run 4th inning. He is 1 for 2. And it's 2-0 on the Mustangs' first baseman. Gardini delivers, and that's a strike. Elevated fastball, it's 2-1.
Gardini had some command trouble in his last inning. This inning, boy, entirely different pitcher.
Three and 1 on Gavin Spiridonov. The pitch. Fouled straight back, and a full count now on the Cal Poly first baseman. And for Gardini, you want to get this guy now, because if you do and you go 1, 2, 3, then the 9-hitter leads off the next inning instead of the top of the order.
Correct.
Fought off by Spiridonov.
Albeit it's Dante Vecchini, and he has been tremendous. He's effectively a second leadoff hitter.
Full count on Spiridonov. Again, Gardini the pitch. And did he go? no on appeal. And it's a walk, a 2-out base runner, and here comes Dante Bikini.
This is a tremendous take on a real good slider from Gardini.
See the bullpen activity behind the runner. Max Johnson loosening for St. Mary's. Dante Bikini is singled and been hit by a pitch. He has scored a run. And it's strike one to Dante Bikini. The pitch. That's scooped up by Ian Armstrong. St. Mary's back in the tournament for the second consecutive year and the third time in program history. And Eric Valenzuela has taken the Gales all 3 of their tournament trips. That one floats to the backstop, and a wild pitch, and Gavin Spiridonov heads up to second base. And again, not close from Gardini.
No, this is what we saw last inning from Gardini.
On the ground to second. Cody Kashimoto scoops it up. Short throw to first. Side retired to runner left. As we're through 5. Cal Poly 7. St. Mary's 1.
Well, Carson Turnquist, the tall, lanky freshman, has been immaculate pretty much tonight for the Mustangs. Featuring a mid-90s fastball, curveball, and a changeup, and he has gotten ahead of these Gales hitters, the 3rd best hitting team in the nation, and he so far has handled this offense of the Gales. Roxy.
On to the 6th in a 7-1 game as Carson Turnquist has scattered 4 hits. And that one's fouled back. Top of the order for St. Mary's. Tanner Griffith, Diego Castellanos, and Makoa Sniffen here for St. Mary's. Griffith has struck out looking twice. He is 0 for 2. Turnquist, the pitch. And it's 1-1. Cal Poly out of the Big West, St. Mary's out of the West Coast Conference, and their landscapes of both of the leagues are going to change coming up. Reaching for it, rolled to second. Jake Downing, and out at first base, and there's one gone here in the 6th. ESPN is the home for the NCAA baseball regionals. For round-the-clock multi-game coverage, scan that QR code right there. ESPN Plus subscribers can access expanded coverage with Squeeze Play. One out here in the 6th, and now it's Diego Castellanos, who is 0 for 2. A 36-game hitting streak on the line for the Gales right fielder. As Turnquist. Line the other way toward the corner. That is a fair ball. And the hit streak extended, and a new West Coast Conference record of 37 consecutive games with a hit for Diego Castellanos, and a one-out double the other way.
Well, it's a good job of hitting. This is a good fastball from Turnquist on the outside part, and we've talked about the approach of this entire Gales lineup, led by their hitting coach, Jack Meggs. Backside, if you're a left-hand hitter, backside means left field, focus left field and adjust in. And this is perfect hitting.
Runner at second for Makoa Sniffen, who is 1 for 2. First pitch, fly ball to center. Casey Murray Jr. late break charging in. He'll get there as Castellanos back to second, 2 outs.
We just talked about Squeeze Play. Who's there tonight? Matt Schick,
Chris Burke, Mike Rooney,
and Runes.
Chris Budden was on the day shift. 2 gone. Here is Ian Armstrong, who is 1 for 2 with a double and a run. But the landscape of these leagues changing. Gonzaga leaving the WCC. They are moving to the new Pac-12, which will begin next year. Gonzaga, who won the WCC this season. They won the league by 6.5 games. But then they went 0-2 and a quick exit from the West Coast Conference tournament.
Yeah, Mark Mocktaff's club had a real good season this year, and you could argue an at-large bid for him.
34 road games. They won 20 true road games. They didn't play a home game until late March, almost a month and a half into the season. They won all but one of their WCC series, and they had 5 sweeps. Mark Mocktaff was the West Coast Conference Coach of the Year. They had the Player of the Year, Mikey Bell. The Pitcher of the Year, Carson Swim.
Sounds like a tournament
Landon
team.
Hood, who was the Freshman of the Year in the WCC. Practically clean house with all the awards.
Well, you talk about teams changing leagues.
3 call.
We'll get to that on the other side.
7 strikeouts. Carson Turnquist, 7-1, Cal Poly. Tonight's Capital One rewarding performance And that bottom of the fourth, where Cal Poly scored 6 runs, they sent 11 to the plate. Cam Hoyland, a long home run in the bottom of the fourth, his second of the regional. And then Nate Castellon, the RBI single. And the runs just kept on coming. The chop from Alejandro Garza that brought in another. The wild pitches from Talon Gardini. And a hit batter. And a 7-1 lead for Cal Poly in that long half inning for the Mustangs.
How about the moon? I know you're surprised that I knew what that was.
That there's a moon in the up in the sky?
Well, yeah.
Top of the order for Cal Poly, a new pitcher for St. Mary's. And it's Max Johnson out of the bullpen. The redshirt freshman from Alamo in the East Bay, not far from St. Mary's in the rolling hills of Moraga, where St. Mary's College resides.
Rux, you were talking about teams on the West Coast moving to other conferences. How about UC Santa Barbara, the Gauchos?
Well, I was getting to that because of both of these conferences involved in that with UC San Diego. They're both going to be in the Big West for one more year. Passed first, but foul from Nate Castellon. Then after next year, next academic year, and the Gauchos and the Tritons will have one more baseball season in the Big West, but then they will move to the WCC. West Coast Conference losing Gonzaga, going to the reconfigured Pac-12. But the Big West will be welcoming in some new teams as well, like Utah Valley, Cal Baptist, with the WAC closing their doors. Line to left, over the leaping Ian Josephson toward the line. Second hit for Nate Castellon.
This is another breaking ball hit for Castellon tonight. Slider on the outside part.
Now it's Alejandro Garza, 0 for 2 with a walk and an RBI. Hit number 7 for the Mustangs. So the Big West will be down 2 teams after next year. But they welcome in Utah Valley and Cal Baptist. And Sacramento State also headed to the Big West.
Reggie Christensen.
They won a series at LSU this year. Line to right toward the line. And that's a hit. Cut off. In the foul ground goes Diego Castellanos. And a strong throw holding Garza to a single. But Nate Castellon goes around to third.
Well, it's a great job by Garza hitting this ball the other way. And to your point, Diego Castellanos in right field, if you haven't seen this youngster's arm, it's one of the best in the country. And that's exactly where Garza ends up staying at first base. But left-handed thrower off the wall, a little ricochet, but that arm right there is thrown out of quite a few runners, Roxy.
Including a huge run in the West Coast Conference baseball final down in Scottsdale last weekend. Nobody out. Dylan Kordich, the batter, runners at the corners. Trouble for Max Johnson. And it's ball 1. Johnson, his 14th appearance of the season, first of this regional. Bottom of the 6th. Cal Poly looking to add on. 1-1. The WCC will also be adding Denver University.
Really? Now
they don't have baseball, but they are coming in for sports like basketball.
It's kind of like Colorado. before. They didn't have a baseball program in the Pac-12.
That hit foul sharply on the ground. And kind of cornered Stu Jackson, the WCC commissioner, trying to see if he'd start a hockey league with Denver coming into the league. And,
well, why wouldn't you?
Well, Denver winning the national championships. And
that I know. I know you're surprised.
He said, we're probably not going to have hockey, but we'll take their national titles. 2-2. But the new Pac-12 will be starting up, and that's going to be a good baseball league. With Gonzaga going there, Oregon State, Washington State will also be in the reformed Pac-12, which starts play in the fall with football. And for the most part, the better brands from the Mountain West are going to that new Pac-12. Boise State, Utah State, Colorado State, Fresno State, San Diego State. They're joining Oregon State and Washington State. Gonzaga, Texas State is going to the Pac-12. And a called strike 3, a good backdoor slider right there from Max Johnson, out number 1. And then you have Dallas Baptist, which has become a good baseball program. They're not in the postseason this year. And that ends a run that the Patriots have been on. But they're going to be a baseball-only member in the new Pac-12.
Yeah, there's no question that it's going to be one of the better conferences in the country, adding the teams that you're talking about.
Runners at the corners, 1 out. Ryan Taman has homered, singled, and walked. Hit sharply into left in a 3-hit game for Taman. Now drives in his second run of the night. Alejandro Garza stops at second. It's 8-1 Cal Poly.
Well, this is a breaking ball, middle and up, and we've talked about if you throw Ryan Taman, co-player of the year in the Big West, something up in the middle of the zone, he's going to hurt you more times than not.
And he's locked in right now.
He is.
Cam Hoyland is homered tonight. He homered in that 6-run 4th inning. The WCC had rave reviews in their conference tournament that moved to Scottsdale this year after the last 3 years. It was at the Las Vegas ballpark. And that's the former home of the Pac-12 tournament when they had it, was at Scottsdale Stadium.
Yes. We've spent many a games there, Rox.
The Big West tournament this year was at UC Irvine, after last year was hosted by Cal State Fullerton. And the ironic thing with the tournament being at Irvine this year is the Anteaters weren't in it.
You're right. And normally a Ben Orloff program is going to be in the postseason, and for sure in the conference tournament. And this is a very abnormal year for the Anteaters.
And it's ball 4, and they're loaded. Garza to third. Ryan Taman up to second. Hoyland is on. And now it's Jake Downing. Activity again in the bullpen for St. Mary's. On this Saturday night in Los Angeles.
Beautiful.
And ducking out of the way is Jake Downing. And now here comes Eric Valenzuela. And he's going to make a change right here. And Eric Valenzuela As Max Johnson laboring to find the zone is going to make that change.
Well, Downing fortunate enough to get out of the way of this ball.
Max Johnson only able to get one out. And he'll be lifted as the Gales go to the bullpen. Cooper Berger, freshman from Irvine, enters for St. Mary's. Winners bracket game between St. Mary's and Cal Poly. It's been all Mustangs in this one. As St. Mary's going to their fourth pitcher of the night. 6-run bottom of the fourth for the Mustangs. And Cal Poly, who beat Virginia Tech last night. And they're headed toward the driver's seat of this Los Angeles Regional and trying to get to that regional final with a win here tonight. Cooper Berger inherits the 1-0 count. And the freshman. Now it's ball 2, and he's pitched sparingly for the Gales this year.
Well, both of these teams are still alive, regardless of what happens tonight. But there does come a time in a game where a skipper has got to make a decision.
Line to center, right at Tanner Griffin. Comes in to make the catch, tagging. Alejandro Garza breaks for the plate. And that's a sacrifice fly for Jake Downing. And it's now 9-1 Cal Poly.
Once again, situational hitting strikes again in a positive way for the Mustangs. They manufacture runs, take advantage of opportunities. But I started to say, Roxy, there comes a time when a skipper makes a decision, okay, I'm not conceding, I'm not throwing in the towel, but I need to think, we got a game tomorrow, and who I'm going to use out of my bullpen. Again, there's nobody on a college roster in a bullpen in a uniform that doesn't have talent.
Berger last appeared against USF back on May 14th, just over 2 weeks ago. Murray out toward right center field, and that splits the alleyway for Casey Murray Jr. Here comes Ryan Taman. They're sending Cam Hoyland all the way from first, and a 2-run double. Casey Murray Jr., and it's 11-1 Cal Poly.
Casey Murray Jr. We talked about his game yesterday. 4 hits. This is a breaking pitch on the outside part. Hits it exactly where it's pitched. Finds a right center gap. And in comes 2 more. Plated.
Now it's Gavin Spiridonov. And it's ball one, the 8th hitter in this 4-run 6th. As you can close the book on Johnson. And Max Johnson giving up 4 runs in his 3rd of an inning. 11-1 Mustangs. In case you're wondering, there is no run rule in the NCAA tournament.
You like that rule?
I do.
I do too. It's the postseason. Anything can happen. Obviously, anything can happen.
Called strike to Gavin Spiridonov. Singled and scored back in the 4th. He is 1 for 2 tonight. 2-1 the count. The 2-1. Now it's 3-1 on Spiridonov. Cooper Berger, the freshman from Irvine, 6'5" right-hander. Didn't make his season debut for St. Mary's until April 8th. Line to right center, and Spiridonov with a hit. Around third, Casey Murray Jr. trots in. Spiridonov an RBI. 12-1 Mustangs.
How about all these opposite field hits by the Mustangs? Spiridonov right here, a ball away, almost a mirror of Casey Murray Jr.'s previous hit. It's a good trip by Ian Armstrong out to talk to the youngster. Haven't been out on the mound that much this year, Roxy.
Now back to the plate, Ian Armstrong. 9-hitter Dante Bikini is singled and been hit by a pitch. He scored a run tonight. He is 1 for 2 in the ballgame. 12-1 Cal Poly. And they're well on the way to putting themselves into the regional final tomorrow night.
Which would be the first time ever
that they're 2-0.
I'm sorry, first time.
First time, thank you. The redundancy there with the first time
You
ever.
taught me last night.
Yes, it's just the first time.
See that, Dad? I listen.
They have never started a regional 2-0. They have been to a regional final a couple of times
last year,
but they haven't done it by winning the first 2 games. And that's what they're on the precipice of doing here. A 12-1 lead for the 3 seed in the Los Angeles Regional. Popped up left side. Ian Josephson in a foul ground, and he puts it away to retire the side. 5 more for Cal Poly as we're through 6. 12-1 Mustangs. our Saturday headlines from day 2 of the NCAA baseball tournament and the 16 regional sites. Of course, number 1 UCLA here earlier today, surviving and having to come back in the bottom of the 9th. Auburn, they stay alive. War Eagle on the Plains. 17-13, they beat NC State. Southern Miss, the first national seed, eliminated. And a 4 seed, Milwaukee. They're in the regional final, or at least trying to get there, as they're in a good spot. The new pitcher is Chris Downs for Cal Poly, a 12-1 lead. It's all Mustangs here. And a 6'7" junior from Santa Clarita. Here are the numbers for Downs on the season. 5, 6, and 7 for the Gales. Jacob Johnson, Ian Josephson, and Jared Medham. And the first pitch fouled away by Johnson, who's 1 for 2 with an RBI. He's driven in the only run for the Gales way back in the 2nd inning. They did lead this game at one point, 1-0. But it's been all Cal Poly since. 6 strong innings. Carson Turnquist allowing just a run on 5 hits. 7 strikeouts.
What's the best number for me is 0 walks. And Larry Lee talked about it. Told me prior to the game, if he has command, he's our guy. He's the best we have.
And he had it tonight against a terrific lineup in St. Mary's. One and 2 on Johnson. Downs, 26th appearance as Jacob Johnson flips one out to right center. And that is a leadoff single for the Gales to open up the 7th.
Well, what's interesting, Roxon, we talk about Carson Turnquist and Larry Lee saying when he doesn't walk anybody, it's about the best we have. But think about Ness last night and how outstanding he was.
Even though they're both big righties, they go about it differently.
They do. Griffin Ness, if you missed it last night, was immaculate on the mound. Not a hard thrower at all. But he located and kept the Hokies off balance the entire game.
And now he gets to eat a burrito in the dugout. That's when you know you're dealing. Back through the middle, Ian Josephson. As Jacob Johnson stops at second base. And there's 2 on for St. Mary's here in the 7th.
Well, you know, Eric Valenzuela Club is not going to quit by any means. And they came in as 3rd best hitting team in the entire country.
Yep, he's eating a burrito in the dugout. As Eric Valenzuela coming to check on Josephson, who the athletic trainer for St. Mary's, along with their assistant Jack Meggs, who runs the offense for Eric Valenzuela, checking on Josephson, and he got stung by a ground ball yesterday and a blistering grounder off the bat of Brock Chalowski, and you can see the taping on that left wrist for Ian Josephson, who just singled back through the middle, his 2nd hit of the night.
Did you say the Turnquist was eating a burrito?
No. Griffin Ness was eating the burrito.
Oh, Griffin Ness was?
Yeah. Goes back to that theme of it's his dig me.
Oh, that's right.
You know, when you deal and you shoved last night, you can do whatever you want to.
That's right.
You want to eat a burrito in the dugout? You can do it.
Well, the question, what kind of burrito do you think that is? There's
Turnquist has a big jacket on, and he's
not hungry.
Coming down.
He's not hungry. Ness?
Griffin Ness is going to town on that burrito.
Look.
Out to right center from Jared Medham. And a nice running catch by Dylan Kordich into the alleyway. Tagging. Jacob Johnson sprints to 3rd. The relay throw gets away, but it's backed up by Chris Downs. Solid liner, but a good effort by Dylan Kordich and right. And the running grab for out number 1.
Well, Kordich makes a very, very good play to catch the baseball. Now, he misses the cutoff. Rex, he does hit the cutoff, but the relay in from Jake Downs is backed up by Chris Downs. The left-handed pitcher, a little PFP. Needless to say, times have changed in college baseball when you can eat a burrito during a game.
Now it's Nick Allred at the plate, and he lines it back to the screen. Would Jerry Kindle let you have a burrito in the Arizona dugout?
Why do you ask rhetorical questions? Why? Why would you ask that? I told you I ran to the end of the dugout when I thought he was going to use me a pinch hitter my first game ever there. And of course he did. He found me. No,
and then somehow I kept penciling you into the lineup.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Into the Arizona Hall of Fame.
This is a true story, though. Before every game, our trainer would get me a Snickers bar and a Coke. And he always put it down right into the dugout.
Was that NIL before NIL?
Yeah, I guess. Apparently, I'm going to turn
You're
this
saying
in.
Arizona was cheating.
but I would.
Nick Allred down swinging, 2 gone.
I would eat that Snickers bar, hiding behind our trainer as fast as I possibly could, and literally chug that Coke.
Did Jerry Kindle ever catch you?
Never. I had good teammates, my trainer and his assistant trainer. They'd give me the signal and say, go.
Pinch hitter for St. Mary's, this is Brady Pettit. Batting for Cody Kashimoto here. With 2 outs in the 7th, 2 aboard for St. Mary's. Pettit, who's got some pretty good pop. 277 with a home run. A sophomore from Encinitas down near San Diego.
I know where that is.
Driven in 27 this year. Chris Downs, and it's strike 1.
It's a tough lineup to get in when you've driven in 27 and you're not a starter.
Downs, the 1-strike pitch. Chopper near second base. Cutting across, and it's Nate Castillon for the out. But did he step on second base, and he turned to double play when he didn't need to? Britos in the Cal Poly dugout. Griffin Ness.
Griffin Ness.
Did he finish that thing already?
That's a power eat right there.
Stretching at Jackie Robinson Stadium.
The real fun just getting started.
Run straight for the breakaway.
The celebration is on.
The NCAA Baseball Regionals presented by Capital One. Jackie Robinson Stadium. The Los Angeles Regional, Game 4, and the Cal Poly Mustangs. They scored a total of 11 runs in 4 games in the Big West tournament. They have scored 12 tonight against St. Mary's.
Well, they put it all together in 1 week's time, Roxy. They have pitched last weekend, and they have pitched here so far. And it's something they did not do up in Eugene last year.
Every Cal Poly player in the lineup tonight has reached base, and everyone but Dylan Kordich has scored a run. And we have confirmation right there that
it wasn't a power.
Didn't finish it. He is still going to town on that burrito.
Yeah, but there is a problem because he was still chewing food when he's high-fiving and talking to dudes. So you know that's some bad breath.
That is a big burrito, by the way.
That's some bad breath when you're coming in.
Diego Emmerling, the new pitcher. Some other changes for St. Mary's. Brady Pettit, who hit for Cody Kashimoto, stays in to play third base. And Ian Josephson, the third baseman, moves to second. 14th appearance for Emmerling. Redshirt freshman from Martinez in the Bay Area. And he's got good stuff. It's just the inconsistency from Emmerling. And he had an appearance at the WCC tournament last week. The pitch. That's fouled away. He worked in 1 game in that WCC tournament. And Emmerling, for 1 inning, looked dominant. In the second inning, it just kind of unraveled for him in that championship game against San Francisco. He threw an inning and a third against USF. He gave up 3 runs, but all the runs coming in the second inning. In the first inning, he had a couple of strikeouts that was impressive. 1-2, the count on the top of the order. Nate Castellon leading it off. Alejandro Garza, Dylan Kordich to follow. Tough play. Brady Pettit. And not in time, an infield hit. Legged out by Nate Castellon. His 3rd hit tonight.
It always seems to never fail, right? The new guy that comes in, the ball finds him right off the bat. And this is a tough play for Brady Pettit at third base with Castellon, how he runs. The front of the plate, the dirt, seems to be very, very hard, Roxy. The ball's bouncing very high.
And just that little
hesitation, that extra step. It's a good shot right there, but
here's Alejandro Garza.
What do they say? Game of what? Inches.
94 from Emmerling, so he's got some giddy up on his fastball. It's just now the command part of the project, but the tools are there for Diego Emmerling as he blew that one by him at 94.
Well, when you think about how difficult it is for college coaches to scout and recruit, when you see elite arms like we see in Emmerling right now, it's very easy to project this youngster could be special. And every coach believes that they have the ability to develop and get players better. And unfortunately, it's the toughest thing to do is be right.
2-1 the count. And up and in and ducking out of the way was Alejandro Garza. Three and 1 the count on Garza. Nate Castellon, the runner at first. Mighty cut, full count.
That right.
Not sure if that's dirt or pine tar in the front of his helmet, but you can't even see the Cal Poly logo anymore in the front of the helmet of Alejandro Garza. It's in there somewhere. I could see the outline of it. Now straight back.
Well, you see he goes to the bill of his hat a lot. And that's probably, there's some tar there, a little bit, pine tar we're talking about. And if you're not familiar, new to baseball, pine tar is sticky, helps your hands stay on the bat.
Ground ball, and he pushes it into right. Stopping at second is Castellón, and Alejandro Garza with his second hit. And the Mustangs are right back at it here in the 7th.
Are relentless. There have been a bevy of opposite field hits by the Mustangs tonight.
Now it's Dylan Kordich. The pine tar on the bill of his helmet. George Brett would be proud.
Why is that, Roxy? Why? Tell the viewers.
George Brett's synonymous with pine tar. You know the story.
I understand. I'm saying tell the viewers. A lot of people now watching baseball wouldn't know who George Brett is.
Google it.
No, come on, be nice.
Strike one to Dylan Kordich. Kordich walked in the 4th. He is 0 for 3 tonight.
In summary, George Brett, one of the best hitters in the history of MLB. Played a game at Yankee Stadium. What did he do, Rox?
It was 1983.
I believe he hit 390 or something.
Well, he homered, and they ruled the home run illegal because of the pine tar that was too high on the bat.
Yeah, what was beautiful about it is
excessive.
Brett was in the dugout. And he just left the yard. He's happy, fist pumping, turns around, looks at the umpiring crew at the dish. They're all together and like, what are you doing with my bat?
Strike 3 called is Emmerling with the punch out, and a good slider out number 1.
It is. That was a real good slider from Emmerling for the punch out, but because of Google, you can look it up. It was one of the iconic reactions ever by a player. I mean, running up the steps out of the dugout, George Brett, once they
fastest he ever moved on a baseball field.
Ever.
And who'd he hit the home run off of?
Was it Goose?
He hit it off Goose Gossage.
You got to give me credit. I mean, just go ahead. First time ever, give me. Well, not first time ever. I'm sorry. First time.
Now I can't give you credit because you're redundant.
Billy Martin was the skipper of the Yankees, and
there's a wild pitch from Emmerling. Nate Castellón scoots up to 3rd, and over to second base goes Garza.
George Brett, one of my favorite hitters ever. It was a thing of beauty. There's a lot of them out there, but he's one of the best ever.
He, along with his brothers, owned one of the minor league baseball teams I worked for.
Well, they went to school here in El Segundo, local El Segundo, California. Kimmer, all the Bretts.
Bobby Brett.
Yes. 1980
when he hit 390. 3-0 to Ryan Taman, and that's ball 4. And the runners will hold as that caromed right back toward the plate where it's grabbed by Ian Armstrong. And Taman has reached in all 5 plate appearances tonight. Homer, single, walk, single, walk. They're loaded for Cam Hoyland, but a pinch hitter actually batting for Hoyland. This will be Braxton Thomas batting for Hoyland. Pinch hitting for the DH. The junior from Patterson. .258 hitter Thomas on the year. The loaded with 1 out, and that's upstairs from Emmerling. Again, no run rule in the tournament. You play it out. Out of play. And in case you're wondering where Patterson, California is, it's way up north. Just
where?
On the outskirts of the Bay Area.
Did you know that, or did you have to look it up?
I know it.
Why do you have Google up?
I just wanted to see exactly how far from here it was. It's a 4-hour drive from here.
Well, there's a lot of places 4-hour north from here.
Well, 4 hours without traffic.
Okay.
It could be just 4 hours sometimes getting out of LA.
Oh boy.
1-2 the count on Braxton Thomas. The pitch. Got him. Struck him out. Back foot slider. And there's 2 outs.
And that's the talent from the arm of Emmerling that you were talking about. 94-mile-an-hour fastball, sometimes 95, and when you see this, it's real easy to get the video and take the youngster in the next day and say, hey, this is something good. This is why you're here. It's elite stuff like this.
Jake Downing, the hitter. He is 0 for 2, has walked and a sac fly. And he takes ball 1. Bases full for the Mustangs, threatening for more. Diego Emmerling. And it's outside.
It's a lot of run on a 92-mile-an-hour fastball from Emmerling.
The pitch. And it's high, 3-0. No place to put him. Emmerling needs to come in with a strike here. Here it comes. And it's ball 4, and he's walked in a run. It's now 13-1, Cal Poly. Second RBI for Downing tonight. As Nate Castillon scores. And a rough night for Eric Valenzuela and his pitching for the WCC tournament champs. And now it'll be Casey Murray Jr. for Cal Poly. 2-run double in the 6th inning. This is the winner's bracket game, which means that even if the score holds and St. Mary's drops this one, they will play an elimination game against UCLA tomorrow afternoon. Pumped it by Murray, couldn't catch up with a heater. 93 from Emmerling.
And you know John Savage and his staff for eyeballing this game.
And whoever wins that first game would bounce back and play the winner of this game tomorrow night. In this double elimination format, and whether that's St. Mary's if they happen to lose this game, or UCLA, they would need to win that game tomorrow afternoon and then beat Cal Poly twice. And we would have the if necessary game on Monday here at Jackie Robinson Stadium. Two and 1 the count. Did he go? Yes, he did. 2-2 on Casey Murray Jr. here with 2 down. Cal Poly is 6-2 win over Virginia Tech last night and leading this one 13-1. And it's a full count. Here it comes. Fouled away by Murray. Runners will go back, and The merry-go-round will go again on the pitch to the plate. 13-run outburst for the Mustangs. He did score 15 against Fresno in a game back on May 12th. And it's ball 4, and Emmerling has walked in another. And here comes Alec out of the dugout, Eric Valenzuela, to make another pitching change, it appears. And everybody moving up. 3 RBIs for Murray tonight. And yes, indeed, St. Mary's will make another pitching change. 14-1. Mustangs in control. And St. Mary's going back to the bullpen. Noah Waldeck out of the pen for St. Mary's. Looks like we're headed to St. Mary's and UCLA tomorrow afternoon in an elimination game, Game 5 of this Los Angeles Regional. We just saw it yesterday.
It was the Johnson, Brock Chalowski flies out, and you could argue the biggest win ever for the Gales. Jacob Johnson left the yard twice. Beautiful full moon.
Pinch hitter for Cal Poly. This is Antonio Castro batting for Gavin Spiridonov, and the new pitcher is Noah Waldeck, and that's ball 1. Castro pinch hitting here for Cal Poly. 217, a couple of homers and 69 at bats, and a called strike. Pitch. 2-1 the count. Waldeck, the junior from Vista, California, JC transfer for St. Mary's. There are his numbers on the year. And it's now 3-1. At this point, Eric Valenzuela is trying to find anybody that will throw strikes.
Well, that's what he obviously, you see that Waldeck has had issues with his command. No different than Emery.
That screams foul off the bat of Antonio Castro. Castro, a freshman from Concord in the Bay Area, and powerhouse De La Salle.
what I started to say, for the most part, if you're in a bullpen for a college club and you're not getting a bunch of innings, there's normally a reason. Normally it's around command. That's all it is.
Ground ball to first, behind the bag. Flag down, Makoa sniffing, underhands and getting over his Waldeck for the out. And the side retired. 2 more for Cal Poly. 14-1 Mustangs. We go to the 8th.
Welcome to Squeeze Play. All the highlights, all the big moments.
Got a chance to have some big-time fireworks.
6 to 8 games on the screen at one time.
You're going to be locked in for that.
The season on the line.
Hashtag Squeeze Play. Send us some tweets. Maybe we'll put you on the social wall.
The storybook season will continue. Our headlines, day 2 of the NCAA regionals and the tournament. The story clearly here in LA was the comeback by UCLA. You got another word to describe it?
Sensational, amazing, shocking.
Southern Miss, the first national seed, eliminated. And then Little Rock, a chance to go 2-0 there in Hattiesburg as that regional has opened. New pitcher for the Mustangs. And ball 1 to Tanner Griffith, top of the order for St. Mary's. Diego Castellanos, Makoa Sniffin to follow against Josh Morano. Junior from Livermore in the Bay Area. And lined right at the third baseman, and Alejandro Garza stabs it for out number 1.
Oregon. Ball hit right on the button. But right at Alejandro Garza. The Oregon Ducks are in good shape up in the Eugene Regional where they're hosting. They took care of the Pac-12, former Pac-12 rival, Washington State, shut them out 4-0.
That's essentially the Pac-12 Invitational at PK Park. Comebacker knocked down by Morano. Underhands and gets Castellanos, and there's 2 quick outs here in the 8th by Josh Morano.
You are correct, because the Oregon State Beavers, who got a win today, are in that regional as well. And for a second, when we saw the brackets forming on Monday, we thought maybe, how about if they send ASU?
What if they sent all 4?
Right, Arizona State up there, and instead Arizona State went to the Lincoln Regional, hosted by Nebraska.
2 outs, Makoa Sniffin 1 for 3, and he takes ball 1. But Oregon 2-0 in that Eugene Regional. They're in the driver's seat. And after the Ducks beat Washington State, it'll be the Cougs and the Beavs. I guess they're technically the last ones left standing from the old Pac-12 that are going to the reformed Pac-12.
They are. Mitch Canham, the head coach of the Beavers, he's had to be an independent.
The last 2 years, line to left, and that is hit sharply all the way to the wall by Makoa Sniffen. And he's hustling into second base, and he'll get there with a 2-out double. Second hit for Sniffen in the ball game. And now for St. Mary's, we'll get a pinch hitter for Ian Armstrong.
Just this lineup of the Gales, it's just up and down this lineup. They just swing the pole. We saw Sniffen hit a ball the other way for a big RBI double yesterday. Hit the chalk. This is off-speed pitch, middle, hooked down the left field line.
Brett Williams, the pinch hitter for St. Mary's, batting here in the cleanup spot for Armstrong. As Brett Williams, the sophomore from Carlsbad. 359 and 78 at bats with a home run. And he waves through a breaking ball from Morano. It's 0-1. Third pitcher for Cal Poly. Chris Downs worked a scoreless 7th, and now Josh Morano here in the 8th. 6'4" lefty. Transfer from Arizona, Morano. Slow bouncer to third. That's glove foul by Alejandro Garza.
I got a little trivia for you next inning. Uh-oh. Yeah, that's right. Uh-oh is right. Speaking of that, Lincoln Regional, Ole Miss, another rain delay, shocker. They went into a rain delay last night with the Sun Devils of Arizona State, ended up winning that game.
Sniffing baseballs. That's what they've resorted to.
Hold on a second. Now, I'm going to tell you, I've actually sniffed a baseball. We do that kind of stuff.
Why am I not surprised?
Well, yeah, but look, it's like your glove, the leather. It's just a natural thing to do. You sniff the leather on your glove, and the baseball, I mean.
Called strike 3, right at the knees. Catches. Brett Williams looking. One hit, one left. We're going to the bottom of the 8th.
What's this smell like? No, you sniff it. No, I'll
like
sniff
Lloyd
it.
Bridges, an airplane.
Here it is.
I picked the wrong week to stop sniffing glue. The NCAA Baseball Regionals, presented by Capital One. To the last of the 8th, this is all Cal Poly here tonight.
Beautiful Santa Monica, the Ferris wheel out there. What a gorgeous day we had here in Southern California. I mentioned trivia for you, Rocks.
Pinch hitter, by the way, Xander McLaurin. Lead off the bottom of the 8th. Batting for Dante Bikini, the left fielder. The 9th spot in the order here. Senior from Long Beach. The big innings, a 6-run 4th, a 5-run 6th. Season high is 16 runs for Cal Poly. And they have 14 here in the bottom of the 8th. As Noah Waldeck continues on the mound. New catcher is Brett Williams, who hit for Ian Armstrong in the top of the inning. And a called strike to McLaurin. Pinch hitting here. He's a .308 hitter and 78 at bats. 2 homers for McLaurin. High chop. That dribbles foul.
So you ready for the trivia?
Yes.
How many teams in the College World Series have lost their first game of the College World Series and then come back and won 6 games to win it all in the history?
I'm going to guess 3.
Wrong.
Okay. McLaurin to first. Fielded by Makoa Sniffen, getting over his Waldeck to cover. And there's one out here in the last of the 8th.
So 12 teams in men's College World Series history have won the national championship after losing their first game in Omaha. And that group accounts for less than 17% of all national champions. The most recent example was Oregon State, a Pat Casey led club in 2018. When the Beavers won 6 straight games after dropping their first opener, their opener to North Carolina.
And they beat Arkansas to win it.
Mm-hmm.
Nate Castillon, strike 1 on the outside edge. 3 runs scored, 3 hits tonight for Castillon.
The first team to accomplish the feat was Texas in 1950. Other notable programs. USC Trojans did it 4 times, believe it or not.
Of their 11 national titles?
Correct. Arizona, a couple times, 76 and 80. Arizona State 1969. Cal State Fullerton, Augie Garrido, late great, won it in 79. And then Pat Casey's Beavers did it again in 2006. And the most recent, South Carolina in 2010.
Wait. The most recent? Well, Oregon State did it in 18. You said South Carolina in 2010.
Oregon State in 2006.
Backhanded. Deep behind the bag. Out at first base. Brady Pettit, a fine play. Deep behind the bag.
A tremendous play by Brady Pettit. Get a look here. It's a nice backhand, and the key to this is getting up on his feet quick enough to get the throw over to Sniffen at first base.
Now it's Alejandro Garza with 2 down. You said Oregon State in 2018. That's the most recent. Yeah. Oregon State did that in 2007 and 2018. Because the Beavs lost their first game in 2018 to North Carolina. Then they ran the table.
You know, for a second,
other than losing the first game in the championship series to the Razorbacks.
You are correct. I stand corrected. 2018. Prior to that, it was 2010, and it was South Carolina, which is the only SEC team to ever do that.
1-1 the count on Garza. Waldeck. Two and 1 the count. 1 o'clock tomorrow, UCLA against St. Mary's. And then Cal Poly will await the winner tomorrow night. 1-2-3 inning for Noah Waldeck. We're going to the 9th. 14-1 Cal Poly.
If you missed it earlier today, UCLA won with one of the all-time comebacks, chasing 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th on a 3-2 count. Molovai Lavu hits one a mile on a 3-2 slider, and right behind him, Roman Martin says, if you can do it, I can do it. And just like that, the game is tied. And then Phoenix Call with the base hit to left, and the Bruins storm the field, Roxy.
Held off elimination as Virginia Tech sent home. They go 0-2 in this Los Angeles Regional. And a heartbreaking loss for the Hokies. And now our 9th inning of this 1-0 game between Cal Poly and St. Mary's. And a new pitcher for the Mustangs here in the 9th. The most runs that Cal Poly has ever scored in a tournament game tonight. And it's Troy Cooper to get the last 3 outs. The sophomore from Stevenson Ranch. As Cooper, his 20th appearance, he's 2-0 with a 5.33 ERA. A couple of changes for Cal Poly as well in the outfield. The numbers for Cooper. Xander McLaurin, who hit in the bottom of the 8th for Dante Bikini, stays in. He's in right field now. And the new left fielder for Cal Poly. I take it back. He's in left field. No, he's in right field. And the new left fielder is Owen Melt. There's McLaurin. And then Mel, the new left fielder. Jacob Johnson at the plate. 2-1. Drove in the Gales run back in the 2nd inning. And it's 3-1 on Johnson.
So, Rox, looking ahead to tomorrow and the rest of the regional, if anybody has the pitching to come back, it's the UCLA Bruins and John Savage's staff.
And leadoff walk for Jacob Johnson to open up the 9th.
And normally in a regional through the losers bracket, that's why it's so hard to win a regional through the losers bracket, because pitching, you run through your pitchers.
Pinch hitter for St. Mary's now, batting for Ian Josephson. This is Dario Freschi pinch hitting. Freshman from Napa. 48 at bats with a homer this year. Freschi hitting .250.
These are things that will happen throughout regionals across the country. Coaches in games where they're quite frankly out of, they're going to get some at-bats and get some of the younger players some experience in the postseason.
0-1 on Fresky. And we've seen UCLA do it before, come back through the losers bracket.
They did in 2019. Pretty much a parallel. The 2019 Bruins were ranked #1 for a large part of the season. Also had the best pitching staff ERA in the country.
Hit well out to left center off the bat of Fresky. And Casey Murray Jr. moving over. And the center fielder takes charge for out #1. Back to first goes Jacob Johnson. Now it's Jared Medham coming up for the Gales. He is 0 for 3 tonight. One o'clock tomorrow. St. Mary's against UCLA, and I'm anticipating Sam Kretsch for St. Mary's in that game, but we thought there was the potential of him starting tonight. Instead, it was Lucas Sarantos who got the nod.
Well, that's the beauty of the postseason, is that what we would assume would be the norm is never the norm.
And then for UCLA, more than likely, it'll be freshman Cervantes making the start. Angel Cervantes, who has made big headlines recently with all of a sudden discovering the little dinosaur that he puts on the mound when he pitches.
Yes, that is interesting.
One and two on Medham here with one out. So we'll have to keep our eye out for the dinosaur.
Pretty sure that whatever his or her name is, we'll see.
Jerry the dinosaur.
Jerry, there you go.
But Medham down swinging. There's 2 outs in the ninth.
Real quick, Rox, we talked about UCLA having come through the losers bracket in 2019. What's very ironic about that, the head coach at Loyola Marymount was Jason Gill, who is Larry Lee's assistant.
Another pinch hitter for the Gales, batting for Nick Allred here with 2 outs in the ninth. And this will be Micah Nicholson pinch hitting. As Nicholson, the sophomore from El Dorado Hills, out near Sacramento. And Nicholson, limited opportunities this year, 35 at bats, has a home run hitting .343.
Kind of fitting, isn't it? Somebody coming off the bench that's hitting over 300 for a team that's 3rd best in the entire nation in batting average are the Gales.
Troy Cooper. And it's 1-1. Cal Poly will await the winner of the 1 o'clock game tomorrow. Then at 6 o'clock tomorrow night, in a winner's bracket game, they will get the winner of that elimination game from earlier in the day. And the Gales are down to their last strike. And Larry Lee and Cal Poly, their 5th tournament appearance, and about to go 2-0 for the first time in a regional. Out toward left center, Casey Murray Jr. dives, and he caught it to end the ball game. A highlight reel catch. Casey Murray Jr., the Big West Defensive Player of the Year, puts the exclamation point on this one, and Cal Poly with a convincing 14-1 win, and they are in the regional final.
Well, with this catch here by Casey Murray Jr. puts the final touches at what a outstanding victory for the Mustangs in all facets of the game. Pitching, hitting, and yes, Casey Murray Jr. says, what about defense?
History for Cal Poly, the first time. They started regional 2-0, their third regional final appearance, but they are in the driver's seat now, and Cal Poly needs to be beaten twice by whoever comes out of that elimination game tomorrow morning to win this regional. 14-1, the Mustangs, the 3 seed in the regional final. And a turnaround for the Gales. They will play UCLA at 1 o'clock tomorrow in an elimination game. Long day of baseball. The thrilling first game of the day. An impressive performance tonight from Cal Poly. Once again, our final score as the Cal Poly Mustangs put up 6 runs in the 4th. 5 more in the 6th and cruise to a 14-1 win over St. Mary's. For my partner Wes Clements and our great crew, put in long hours today. Great job by our crew and our production team as well. Roxy Bernstein, so long from Jackie Robinson Stadium. Thanks for watching. Again, the final. Cal Poly in the regional final wins it 14-1.